Welcome to Found at 40. Today I am here with my friend Christy, and I'm so excited for what we're going to talk about. What we will and what we will not be doing in our 40s. The things that we are saying absolutely not to. And I'll tell you right now, I will not be peeing in a porta potty at a concert with a band I've never heard of. We'll get into that more later, but that is kind of the vein that we're in. But Christy, I'm so excited to have you here. So if you could just give our wonderful listeners a little rundown on who you are.
Okay, yes. Hi, I'm Christy Williams. I am originally from Seattle, Washington, but I have lived in Nashville, Tennessee for 20 years. I am married with 4 very rambunctious, loud boys, and they are so fun and I love them. And let's see, I've done photography for a long time, so I enjoy doing photography, and I'm a real estate agent. I say I do all the things.
You really do all the things. You know a little bit about a lot of things, and you probably know a lot about a few things.
I do. I know a lot about a few things, and I know a little about a lot of things. And as I get older, I just feel like I know more.
Which is wonderful. It's wonderful to have a friend who just knows so many things. And I also want to know that right now you've got your 4 boys at home, but you often have at least 4 additional boys at your house. Your house is the hub. It is the wild and crazy place, but they love being there. And how are you able to be in such a serene, calm space right now?
I am actually in our Airbnb. So when we bought the house, we had the house, and then there was an extra space that was above a garage. And my husband and I have flipped a few houses before. We enjoy doing that kind of thing. He's a contractor. I enjoy picking paint colors and doing all that kind of stuff. And so we turned this space into an Airbnb. It's not being used right now. So now I get to sit over here and not be bothered by all the rambunctious children.
Seriously,
Teenagers.
Like the boom, 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 like all the while that is just...
And it's so fun. We wanted the space. We bought the house knowing that we wanted it to be the hub of kids to come. So when I get overwhelmed or whatnot, I just go hide in my bedroom or leave.
If you really need the quiet, you can go to the Airbnb if it's open. We are both in our 40s. I am 40. You're 43?
I'm 44.
44. You're a little further down the path than I am. But we are both in the, I'm not doing that anymore era, or we're just absolutely not. It's not happening.
Yes.
I'm not even going to pretend to entertain the idea of doing one of these things.
I will listen to you go to your things, and I will listen to your stories, but I don't know that I care to do a few things.
But then on the other side of things, there are things that we're oh, you know what? Yes. This thing that I maybe wasn't so interested in earlier in my life, I'm actually, that's wonderful. You're kind of recognizing the things that are yes, we're hanging on to that. So this is a celebration of our preferences and the practicality that comes with being at this age. But no judgment. If you do still like the things that we say absolutely not to, everybody can have their things. This is what we see in our lives that we're nope, nope, nope. And the things that you want to pay a little attention to. First, let's talk about the opt-outs. Let's talk about the things that we would rather, swallow glass, something dramatic, something we're absolutely not.
I think swallowing glass is on my list of not to-dos, of opt-outs, in fact.
I would say that's not a recent development. So the first thing we're going to talk about is our feelings about music festivals. Christy, you have some strong feelings about music festivals. Let's hear it.
I do. I have been to CMA Fest, which I wouldn't consider a music festival per se. I don't know that I've been to an actual music festival, but I've heard stories. Bonnaroo is about 40 minutes away down in Manchester, I think. And I have friends and family who have gone and have told stories of people that we'll just say couldn't find a bathroom, and they were using the side of the dry corner to use the restroom, and just things like that, where it was in the BO smell. And just, I'm fully on the opt-out list of a music festival where I can't sit down, where I can't enjoy some good food, where I can't use the restroom when and where I need to. I'm at that stage where I don't know that I ever wanted to do that, but I definitely have strong feelings about, I don't want to see somebody using the restroom over in the corner of where I'm standing, or people doing drugs or whatnot. It's not my scene.
No, I don't want to spend $500 so I can be hot and uncomfortable for a whole weekend, stand in lines for hours next to some 21-year-old in a mesh shirt who is probably rolling on Molly or whatever, so I can pay $25 for a warm lemonade. Absolutely not. And this is where I differ with my sister. Sarah's been on the podcast before. We all know Sarah. But she is a music lover, and she loves that kind of thing. But for me, I would have to be paid to go. It would also have to be the most magical like lineup. It would have to be like Taylor Swift, I have the front row VIP package or something like that to do this. Like it just sounds no. Like I don't want to see people having sex under a blanket. I don't want to have to be standing for hours baking in the sun with no shade. I mean, you see the things on social media where it's like, oh, this celebrity in their VIP lounge, and, you know, we saw Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber were here, whoever. And it's like, yeah, they're in the fancy zone where there is shade, where they're not packed in like a bunch of sardines. Like that's not going to be general admission, guys. Your experience will be very different, where you are waiting in line, you know, an hour for a porta potty that smells like death, if you can even wait, or you'll walk over to the corner and pee in front of everybody. Where is the joy in that? Was there ever joy in that? Would I have ever done that?
The closest I've come to that is being from Washington, we have an amphitheater area called the Gorge, if anybody has ever heard of that or been there. And I have been to a few concerts at the Gorge. And it is an amphitheater, so it is more of like a grassy knoll that's over this huge water situation. But it is a concert, and you sit. A lot of the weed smell, but you sit and enjoy the concert. That I could be into. I just can't. I can't stand and bake in the sun for hours on end when I could just be at home listening to the music on my headphones.
Well, and like to up the me needing comfort, like you described the grassy knoll, I'm still like, no. The time of my grassy knoll life has come and gone. I remember when I was 18, I just graduated from high school. I went to Dave Matthews Band. It's like a rite of passage for at least all teenagers who grew up in Indiana. That's what you do. And you sit on the lawn, and then I was the DD, which I was totally fine with, but it's like all my friends, you know, they find some rando to buy them beer, and like you're on this lumpy grassy knoll, you're packed in. I'm just like, absolutely not. I think I've reached the point where it's like, if I can't have an opportunity to sit in a chair, a real chair, even if I'm up and dancing during the concert, like I want to be able to sit down and be comfortable when I want to be comfortable.
100%. I'll go to a concert, but I'm not going to be in the mosh pit. I'm not going to be standing down there. I don't care if I'm in the nosebleeds. I want to be able to have a chair, and I want to sit. I don't want to feel bad about it.
You know, I went to a concert, I think it was probably 3 years ago. I went to Las Vegas with my sister, again, Sarah. We went to the Gwen Stefani concert, and I think she was at Planet Hollywood. And we were in the pit. We were like up front. I mean, Gwen was 5 feet away from me. She's so beautiful. And it was really, really fun. However, the whole time I thought, I just want a chair. She's singing Hollaback Girl. She's singing, all of her songs. And I'm just like, Gwen, you're great. I just want a chair. I hung in there. I was wearing flats, but dang. I was like, I am not.
My feet and my back need a chair. Yes, I get that.
Another one. Tell me on your list, activities that could injure you. Tell me more.
Absolutely not. So I was just recently at girls camp, and they had done this super fun activity where they have the slip and slide and the pool, in the shape of a baseball diamond, right? So they've got the slip and slide and everything. I watched a few women my age run, slip, fall, and nobody got injured. But that is something where I can, as a 44-year-old, sit back and say, I'm good. I'll watch you do it. I will support. Whoever wants to do that is fine. Also I'll watch my kids do it. But on the flip side, I will say that things such as zip lining, where I feel safe, totally on board with. I will zip line. I will ride roller coasters. I love them because I feel a trust in a roller coaster, which maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I feel a trust. When you put the harness on, I feel that that's going to be okay. Water slides, I feel a little bit differently about when they're super tall and you're sliding down. But when I'm harnessed in or something, is doable, then I'm going to do that. But if it's willy-nilly, we're going to run and we're going to jump off this bridge. And hopefully if you jump correctly, you will not break something.
Well, I think back to when I was, again, a teenager, so long time ago, and being willing to go bridge jumping, cliff diving, all those things. And it was just like, oh yeah, sure, great. And first you don't think about what could go wrong. And now in this stage of my life, I'm like, all the things that could go wrong. My body is to a place where I feel like I'm still fairly like strong, and I do have some agility, obviously. But like the other day, Ben was lifting things that were too heavy, and oh, looks like you have an umbilical hernia. This is 40. Or I was helping my sister move all last weekend, and you know, it just hits different. So like the things that could potentially injure you, you have like a smaller margin of error.
It's like you used to be in gymnastics. I did gymnastics in high school. I won't say that I was good at gymnastics. I was not, but I did do gymnastics. I could do a mean cartwheel. I could do a round off, you know, all those things. I tried a round off. It wasn't just a small cartwheel, but I did try something recently in the past 5 years, and I pulled a groin muscle. I mean, it was not a good situation. So that's the type of thing that I'm like, I'll lift weights. I go to the gym. Like I'll run a little bit. I'll do my walking. You know, there's things that I will do. I'll help people move. I'll lift things. But as far as like things that my body doesn't do every day, yeah, I'm going to opt out for those at this point forward.
Oh, I almost thought I was injured. I was trying to do a bridge. I was like a turtle stuck on its upside down. That's how I felt. And I thought, how has my body betrayed me so that it's like years ago I could do back handspring. I could do all these things. And now it's just like, your body says nope. And I know when to be like, I'm not going to push this. I'm not going to try. Whereas my husband, Ben, a few years ago, he saw our neighbor had like an air track, like one of those blow up gymnastics mat things. And she was practicing in her front yard, and he gets this look in his eye. And I'm like, absolutely not. Don't do it, because he still thinks that he's 17 to some degree. And so he's like, no, I'm just going to try something real quick. Because Ben, years ago, he was a gymnast too, when he was like in his preteen days, and he was really good. And he's, you know, he thinks like, okay, I'm going to try to do this. He does a running front handspring. His shoulder is still weird. This is like 2 years ago. Oh, no. And so, yeah, this is a time in our lives where it's like, you know, we got to pump the brakes. We got to realize our limits. We got to, you know, accept. I feel like acceptance of limitations is key.
Right.
I think if it were something like water skiing, something like that, I think it would have to be interesting to me. Like if my kids want me to jump on the trampoline at some place, I'm like, I'm not going to spend $30 for a wristband.
I grew up snow skiing, so I will still snow ski, but I will snow ski in a slow way that does not promote injury or falling. I'm very careful. I will also water ski and wakeboard, but again, I can get up, I will hold on. I don't want to go over the wake 100 times. I don't need to go fast. I just want to prove that I can still do it, because I know that I won't get injured doing that. So I will get up, I'll ride it for a minute, and then I'll just let go and be like, I did it. We're done, you know?
Well, one thing, this is a controversial one. One thing that I have fully opted out of is reality TV. I have strong feelings about it. Okay, would you like to hear them?
I want to hear your feelings.
Okay, so there's certain reality TV that I think is great. Like a Great British Baking Show, Bake Off, whatever. That's great. Competition style ones where it's like Survivor or Amazing Race, or my friend Randy, she was on this show called, Lucy would call it Hike to Die. It was Race to Survive. Things like that. Yeah, she was like, okay, are we going to watch Hike to Die? And I'm like, that's basically what it is, honey. So those kind of shows I'm good with. But the shows where it's like kind of the scripted reality. I used to even love The Bachelor. I would watch The Bachelor every week from probably like when I was 25 to 30. I would say I would watch every single episode of The Bachelor season. Like I was locked in. I even went to a taping of The Bachelor. Did you know this?
I didn't know this.
Yeah, so this is when I lived in Utah, and they were filming a date in Park City. And so there was a call out for extras. And it was basically they were going to film a date where they end up going to a concert. And if you have two eyes and a brain, like you'll see, oh, it's funny, everyone in this concert, they somehow know just what to do. So it was Ben Flanick, I think that's who it was. I'll post a picture of who he was. We were given very specific instructions from production that was like, okay, they're going to walk down this hill, and when they get to this point, they're going to pause, and then they're going to come over here, and you're going to part like the Dead Sea. It was a very, very specific choreographed thing. That's not what soured my opinion of reality TV, but that's just like my little brief peek behind the curtain. But no, I feel like shows where it's kind of the scripted reality of like a Real Housewives, if you will, or a Bachelor or anything like that, or like The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives or whatever. It's like, I am not interested. I know a lot of people are, but for me, I'm just like, it gives me secondhand embarrassment, to be honest. I feel secondhand embarrassment. It's not necessarily the content of like, oh, the debauchery or whatever. Like, that's not what it is. I feel secondhand embarrassment that these people, it's a Faustian bargain where these people are trading like their personal peace. Essentially, it's trading their souls in some way, where it's like, okay, they have this like nice, stable, calm life, and then they're trading it for like a little snippet of fame. And so they're going to give up. They're going to act like idiots on TV. They're going to be like the most extreme versions of themselves. And they have to know that they're going to be edited down, and it's going to make them look like idiots, or it's going to make them look like a villain or a monster, or like whatever snarky thing they say. It doesn't matter if there's 10 hours of footage of them being Mother Teresa. They're going to keep the, that snarky thing. And so all of that, knowing that these people are willingly like trading their personal peace for a little slice of fame, I just feel such embarrassment for them. And I'm just like, no.
Secondhand embarrassment for them. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Is that rude?
No, and I really like some of the shows. I'm a sucker for Love is Blind, and I don't know why, but I like that one. I call it my guilty pleasure, and it used to be The Bachelor, and I'll still watch The Bachelor every so often, but it's not drawing me in like it used to. I'm kind of past that stage where, I don't really need to see a guy make out with 16 women in one day. It's I don't
like,
really
I feel
care.
like it's peaked in the interest, and now it's kind of like in the ick, and like the tides have turned of like, this is really kind of gross. And they never really find love.
I will say I just got done watching the 2 seasons of the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders, that reality show, where they have the training camp and then they pick the girls to be on the team and stuff. And again, with the guilty pleasure, I don't sit down to watch it because I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. It was delightful, but it's my relaxed wind down time. It's my guilty pleasure, but it's few and far between. So I'm kind of on the fence. I'm with you, but I'm also, there's a few of them that I will watch that I think are pretty good.
I feel like this is going way back in the past, but do you remember years ago when it was John and Kate plus 8? And at first it was like, oh,
I never watched it, but yeah.
I never watched it, or maybe if I did, it was just like an episode or something where it's like, oh, this cute family, and they've got their two kids, and then they have their sextuplets, and oh, they're trying to, and you could see how this show and this fame like really contributed to the downward spiral of their family, of our marriage is now falling apart, and like the Kate was turned into very much like a villain, kind of like a calculating Machiavellian figure. My question is, was it worth it? Was it worth it? Was this little snippet of fame and probably influx of cash worth all the trouble that it was? To me, it wouldn't. And so like that, or I never really watched, what was it? Sister Wives, again, a TLC show where it's like, okay, they're living their lives, and then they get swept up in this like very, very specific level of fame where it's like, most people really don't know who you are, but like to some, you are a celebrity.
And then where are we at now, So
I know. From what I think like the whole family is falling apart. Like there's just lots and lots of problems, and it could be multiple things besides having the reality TV cameras. But I'm just like, oh, was it worth it? Absolutely not. So that's kind of my secondhand embarrassment.
Or when girls or guys go onto a show because they want to get famous. That gives me the ick, I guess. It's icky when, if you're going on a show because you want to actually try to meet somebody, and you can tell whether somebody's genuine or not, or if you are just really desperate for attention. I think that's where it gives me the ick. It's like, you just
where they're going for, so they can be an influencer, and so their Instagram numbers will go through the roof because they were on this one season of this one show one time.
Right.
That's how I feel about reality TV.
Don't document me falling down and keep it forever.
Honestly, like when I am applying for a job and the HR manager is Googling me and they see me doing whatever ridiculous thing that will like live on. I mean, let's be honest, now this podcast could potentially live on the internet forever. So I have to hopefully not put anything too ridiculous out there. But last thing that I'm like, absolutely not to, is camping. I'm not a camper. I was not raised to be a camper. Like I was never raised as an outdoorsy girl. But for me, when I think of camping, I think let's still take all the normal things you have to do. You have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to use the bathroom. Let's make it very, very difficult. Let's make it as uncomfortable as possible. Let's take all the convenience out of your life. Let's rough it just for kicks. Let's call this a vacation.
Yeah.
To me, a vacation is not that.
I'm actually on Team Chrissy on this one. I'm very much, we used to try to take our boys camping, and it's been years since we've gone. I won't say that I hate camping, but I will say that every time we go, it rains. And I agree with you. Let's make everything the worst it could be, the most inconvenient. We have to cook food. So now we're outside fighting bugs and mosquitoes.
And you had to lug the food to the campsite with you.
And you had to bring everything, and you had to set up the tent. And heaven forbid, I'm only going to stay one night. So we do all of that for one night. Nick and I have pretty much opted out on camping, I think, from this point forward. We will go to a hotel. We will take a nice walk in a national forest. You know, there's a lot of things that we will do. But as far as the typical camping, I'm going to opt out probably.
I would like to talk to a camping family, the female in the family. I would like to talk to the 40-something-year-old, ostensibly the mother. Like, tell me about your experience. Tell me how you love camping and why, because I am just not getting it. I know there could be wonderful family memories through it, and, you know, because you're away from screens and whatever, and it's a completely different experience, and you probably, like, access imagination and bonding, like, all those good things.
When you say wonderful family memories, I think, though, of tragedy plus time equals comedy, because I'm telling you, somebody falls, there's a scratch, it rains, everybody's uncomfortable, nobody sleeps. Years later, it's funny to talk about. Oh, remember that time we went camping as like for us, as a Williams family, it rains every single time. Now, when somebody mentions, let's go camping as a family, everybody is like, let's all go get a hotel room next to each other.
Yes, and have a good night's rest.
And we'll hit the buffet.
When I was a kid, I was probably, 9, 10, 11 years old, and my parents got on this canoeing kick. And whenever we'd had friends visit us from out of town, they'd be like, let's go canoe down this river. I don't know where this came from, but we would get in these metal canoes, and we'd have our snacks, and we'd have all these things. But again, disaster would always strike. I remember the sky turning black, there being thunder and lightning, and us having to canoe desperately to get to the side of the river, to haul our metal canoe onto the beach. It is pouring down, raining, thunder, lightning, and it's like, do we get struck by lightning in the water, in the river? Do we get struck by lightning by covering ourselves with this metal canoe? Do we stand in the trees?
You would with a metal canoe. I feel like you would be that would be the target.
Yes. So like this happened to us, I think 2 separate occasions. And my sister and I, we refused. We told my parents, absolutely not. We will not do this again under any circumstances. So it's been a solid 30 years and it still comes up, like our canoeing misadventures. And my dad lately, he's been like, let's go on a float trip. And I'm like, do we forget what has happened? It would have to be maybe one of those big, huge rafts that's like padded. And I don't want to go on down like whitewater rapids. It would have to be like a gentle situation, but no more canoes.
No more canoes. No more canoes. And when you say float trip, I'm in it for an hour, maybe 2 hours. But we did, a couple years ago, we did do a whitewater rafting down towards Chattanooga. They have a bunch of those. And as long as you have a guide and you have like a handle to hold on to, it's borderline on my list of, you know, am I going to get injured? Hopefully not, because I have a guide and I'm not strapped in, but you know, but it was really fun. But again, 2 hours of that time, and then you can get dried off and get in the car and go home. I'm going to go home to sleep in my own bed.
I would say, yeah, hard pass on camping. Camping enthusiasts, please contribute and let us know what and how and why. I will listen to the other side. I don't know if I'll ever be convinced.
A 40-year-old woman who loves camping. Tell us.
Yes, tell us. All right, friends. Just a quick time out to first thank you so much for being here in episode 3. Second, if this episode's making you laugh, cry, or question every life decision since 2003, don't keep it to yourself. Spread the word to your friends, your sister, your work wife, literally anyone who might enjoy Found at 40. Word of mouth is podcast gold. And if you're feeling extra generous, throw it on your Instagram stories like one of those new favorite finds that you usually save for skin serums or Amazon sandals or your new favorite book. I'll love you forever and will send you an overly excited DM in all caps. Thank you again for being here. Now back to the episode. Okay, so we've talked about the things that we're like absolutely not, hard pass. Now, what are the things that we are kind of either are surprising or not so surprising, things that we absolutely love at this point in our lives? This is my unpaid plug for the Marco Polo app. You have Marco Polo, right?
I do, and I use it sometimes. And I have mixed feelings on it. I like it. Well, I forget to get on it, first of all. I try to be off my phone as much as I can. I see a lot of people that are, glued to their phone all day, and I try to not be on my phone as much. And I'm not saying one way or the other is bad or anything, but I try not to be on it. I forget to look at it. One of my hardships, I love Marco Polo and I love to connect with my friends who are not close by. My best friend in Seattle, and I love her so much, and she knows this about me. If the message is too long, it's hard for me to sit and listen to it. If it's more than 5 minutes, I ride that struggle train on listening to that Marco Polo for more than 5 minutes. Give me it quick and dirty, then I'll respond. We can have a response back and forth, but I'm kind of bad about, like, if you send me a 25-minute Marco Polo, I don't know if I'm going to get through it.
For anyone who is listening who is not familiar with Marco Polo, there might be one or two of you, who knows. It's a messaging app. You can leave messages for like either one person, or you can do like a small group. I've got multiple where it's 3 or 4 of us on it. They can listen to them whenever they want, whenever it's convenient for them. A lot of times I'll listen to it when I'm driving. I'll be able to listen to people's messages. I'm not looking at my phone and like watching the
That's
Marco.
what I need to get better about, is listening to it when I'm driving.
The thing is, so there's Marco Polo, there's the free version, and then there's Plus. And with free, it's like, I don't think you can fast forward anything. I don't know all the bells and whistles. I pay for it. I think I pay $60 or $70 a year. This is like my one paid app.
Wow.
It's kind of a lot, but then you also get these Plus passes where you can gift somebody 2 months of free Plus. And I think you get like 6 Plus passes a year. So you could go in on it with somebody where you're like, I'm going to pay, and then I'll give you those passes whenever you need them. And so we'll go halvesies on it, like something like that. I think makes it nice.
Yeah.
But I love it because I feel like it's revitalized so many of my friendships, because with text, sometimes texting is so tedious. It takes so long to get to the point. If you're trying to have a conversation, you don't want to have a phone conversation because you don't have time. You can just say your thing and then listen when it's convenient. And I just love it.
Yeah.
I love me some Marco Polo.
It's true. It really is fun. It really is sweet, and nothing against it. I just kind of forget. And then I've had friends text me, "How come you haven't Marco Polo'd me back?" And I'm like, well, I just forget. Like, I'll get back on, I promise.
If FaceTime and voicemail, if they had a baby, that is Marco Polo. And I love it so much.
Yeah.
So everybody, I feel like that is what has revitalized so many of my friendships with people that are far away. Like my college friends, my high school friends, that is what we communicate on pretty much exclusively. Yeah. And then when we get together, and it's wonderful, and we're caught up on each other's lives, and we can just like dive in. Okay, I will get off my Marco Polo soapbox, but everybody, if you're not on Marco Polo, get on Marco Polo, dang it.
It really is a good platform. It's a good one. Something else that I am opting into, and maybe everybody does this, but maybe I'm just haven't gotten quite on the bandwagon until I was, mid 30s, 40s. But I have to have my emotional support water bottle. I carry it with me everywhere. I have to have ice water in the car when we're going somewhere, when we stop somewhere. I need it, that, and I need a snack. I need a snack as a just in case, even if it's just like some almonds, or my favorite is a beef stick. And I don't know what I get a kick out of saying, "Hey, Christy, your mom has the beef stick. Who needs one?" But that's my life right now. I need a snack, and I need some water. So I opt into
This is what I have. I've got a Diet Dr. Pepper and my water. We went through all school, elementary, middle school, high school. Nobody had a water bottle at all. Were we just like walking around as dehydrated prunes our entire lives? Because I feel like you might take a gulp or two of water and then you're just like, okay, I'm good. I mean, because the water fountains always smelled like germs and metal, and it's not like you wanted to stay there. And there's always
bit of chlorine, maybe.
And there was always like 30 people in line behind you. So it's like, I think you couldn't stay at the water fountain for more than a couple seconds. So you cannot ever be properly hydrated. Now our kids these days are soft, and it's like, oh, you have to have your water bottle every day, and they want their ice water, but it has to be a clear water bottle, and all these specifics. And I'm thinking like, don't you have water fountains? That's our version of when our parents are like, I walked 5 miles to school uphill both ways. We can be like, I didn't have a water bottle. I didn't have the internet.
I didn't have a water bottle. I didn't bring a snack. I ate my lunch when I was in high school. I was always so hungry by like 10:30 or 11 that I would eat my peanut butter and jelly sandwich by then. And then by the time I got home from school, I would be ravenous and ready to, eat all the food.
So it's like your childhood trauma of like, I was so hungry, you're like, I will never be hungry again. I will always have my beef stick.
Yeah, hungry, thirsty. Yes.
I am on board with your water and snack everywhere. Are your kids that way? Do they always have to bring a water, or do they just say, I'm thirsty, and they wait for you to pass back your water?
Correct. Yes.
One thing that I always take with me everywhere, either take with me or just plan for, is I have my preventative Tylenol or ibuprofen. I don't know if I should advertise this, but I take Tylenol most days before I go out for like whatever stressful thing. I'll take a Tylenol or an ibuprofen just to be like, I know a headache is coming. Yeah. I usually have a little pouch in my purse. I've become that person.
Oh, yeah. I have home ibuprofen, I have car ibuprofen, and I have purse ibuprofen. I have all three.
The one thing that I forget to have with me all the time is tweezers. I always have tweezers in my bathroom at home, but I really need to have car tweezers as well. When you look in the mirror in your car and you're like, oh my gosh, where did that eyebrow come from? Like it did not exist in the bathroom light. That's one thing I need to add to that list. Drink, snack, Tylenol, tweezers, and chapstick.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, while we're at it, throw in, I need gum and I need lip gloss or chapstick. Any of those things, I just need them all in the car with me, in the purse, whatever.
I know all these years, I hate the term raw dogging it, but I feel like the term raw dog, like we're just raw dogging it through life. That's such a gross term.
Not a fan, yeah.
No. One thing that I am starting to institute in my life, 3 kids, they're always going somewhere. I am giving them the 24-hour rule where if they want to go to a place, if they say, Mom, can we go to a movie? Can we do this? I would say 98% of the time I say, we're not planning anything for today. Like the schedule for today is closed. I mean, I will allow friends to come over, or if they want to go to a friend's house, like if we can swing the transportation or whatever, that's fine. But like going to a planned place, I'm like, we're not just willy-nilly going through life here. We have to have a plan because I need structure in my life. And I don't want them to feel like the expectation allowed of like, oh, we're just blowing with the wind. We're doing whatever. Because it's kind of like when you go to the grocery store without a list, or when you go to the grocery store hungry, you end up getting everything and it's all junk. Yeah. I feel like if I don't have some structure in my life of like, we are not doing things day of, we are thinking about this, everything goes a lot better.
Well, I agree with that. I've never actually thought that way, okay, we have to do this 24 hours in advance, but I like that thought of it. I like that way of thinking. I'm more on the fence of, my older boys can drive, and so they'll ask me if they have something they really want to do. They'll say, well, can I do this day? Do we have anything else going on? Which I appreciate. So they'll check in. But Jace, my younger one, for instance, he wants to go to Urban Air, but he has been asking for 2 or 3 weeks, like a long time. It takes me a while to kind of warm up to something. And my answer is consistently, well, we'll talk about it. We'll see. But I'm not going to like last minute like you. I'm not going to last minute. You asked me an hour ago, so let's go. It's going to be, let's formulate these thoughts. Let's think about it. How much is it going to cost? What day? What's the day looking like for other activities? And then we'll kind of go from there.
I feel like a lot of this is teaching your kids delayed gratification as well. If they think mom's just going to jump when I say jump, like absolutely not. No, It's like we have to plan this. It's not going to be, Mom, I want to go do this. Let's do this now. Like, no, I'm not raising tyrants. My husband would maybe disagree. And just to like learn how to plan and to realize that people just don't jump when you say jump, or when,
and it's
when the mood
expensive
strikes
to go out and do things. You have to have that plan in place, because we can't do 15 things a week or whatnot. We can have, one fun activity this day and then skip a few days where we can do some chores at home and we can play with friends.
This planning rule, this 24-hour rule, it goes a little bit against the grain of my Enneagram 7, where everything is like chasing fun. That's kind of where I am as a core. It's like, I want to have the fun. Like that is what I'm really, really wanting to have. And so for me, like delaying the fun, I feel like it's kind of a lesson to myself of like, okay, you need to have some structure in your life. You can't just like go wherever the wind blows you. This idea really came from my sister-in-law, Amy. That's what she does with her kids. Her and her husband both work full-time. She works full-time remotely, so she's at home. Her husband's in office, but I think she really had to institute with her kids. Like, can't just say, let's do this now.
I can be spontaneous with the certain things, but when it comes to spending a ton of money on something, I think that's where I'm hesitant, because I'm like, you've reached your quota as a child in the family or whatnot. We're going to have to look at next week or the week after, type situation, because like you said, we're not raising tyrants. We're not raising people who are like, gimme, this is what I want to do.
I'm sure there's like some type of a parenting expert or influencer or whatever who is like, oh, this is a system we have for when we do things that are a little bit more of like a pricey deal. If non-free activities, like we will do one thing a month or one thing a week or whatever your budget allows. But it's like my kids, I've had to tell them, no, we're not going to go to the movies on Monday, go to Urban Air on Tuesday, go to, whatever arcade, Strike and Spare Wednesday. Like I'm not made of money. And that's just not how we're going to do things. We have to like space out these things. And I feel like trying to get them to understand, like, I feel like such an old person saying this, but like get them to realize the value of $1. And even though they're not making money, it's like these things, life costs money, but like fun costs a lot of money. You got to space it out, kids.
So something else that I am opting into is I don't deep clean the kitchen all the time, but when I do, I am not going to cook. I don't want to mess that kitchen up. I want it to stay nice. And I will tell everybody in the family, listen, we can go out to dinner tonight. This will be the night. The kitchen is clean. And, you know, my husband will say, well, it's clean. Let's cook with it. No.
Let it be glorious and pristine for just like these few hours.
Give me 10 hours with it to just look really, really nice. And then you can make a mess or whatever.
Let's have our house stay nice for a minute. Like, let's not just completely destroy it immediately after you put like 2 hours into that deep clean. I feel like when it comes to cleaning, when it comes to like life tasks, for me, I only have the wherewithal to cook every other day. I do not cook a big dinner every day. First, we're busy. Second, it's a lot of effort. And no, I have it every other day, if that, in me. I don't really remember growing up. I know my mom cooked dinner a lot. I don't remember if it was an every single night thing. But typically it's like, okay, if I cooked on Monday, then Tuesday, it's either going to be leftovers or I say FFY, fend for yourself. That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree. I am on board. It's too much.
Can I tell you one thing that now that we're in our 40s, and I would say slightly more down the financial road than we were, say, when we were in our 20s or even our 30s, I am not a first class passenger. Maybe someday, right? I aspire to have a first class business.
As well.
I aspire for a business class ticket. I'm not there right now. I'm okay with it. However, when I'm looking for a flight, I'm not looking for what is the absolute cheapest I can go. The lawn chair that Spirit Airlines will put me on with my 6 different layovers, like, absolutely not. I will do a little bit more money so I can get there safely and in like a reliable situation. I feel like I have graduated from the absolute worst. Or when you're picking your seat, you know, you do your flight reservation and it's like, oh, middle seats are $30 cheaper. Do you want a middle seat or back of the plane? I'm just like, I absolutely do not want a middle seat.
I'm with you. I will spend an extra $100 to save 3 hours or to save 4 hours. I don't need to have a 5-hour layover. In my humble 40-year-old opinion, that's a waste of time. Let me spend $75 more or whatever it is to have a 1 hour, which is reasonable, layover somewhere and then get to my destination. I get it.
Can I tell you a harrowing tale just briefly?
Yes, please do.
So recently, and I feel like I need to preface this that it's like, I know it sounds a little like douchey to say this, but on my recent flight to Rome, Ben and I, to celebrate our 20th anniversary, we did a week in Italy. It was the absolute most wonderful thing ever. We booked our flights. We booked one ticket normally, and then one ticket was on points because we had enough points for, you know, one round trip. So what we didn't realize is that we were not booked sitting together. We flew from Nashville to Atlanta, Atlanta to Rome. So Nashville to Atlanta, they were able to get us together. Atlanta to Rome, they were like, oh, sorry. We were firmly in the middle of the airplane. He had an aisle seat. And he looks at me and he sees that I have the middle seat and he's like, I'm so sorry. Do you want to switch? And I just want to know this was an act of love on my part. This was me showing Ben that I loved him by saying, no, I'll take the middle. And it wasn't like he was going to pay for it later. It was just like, I'm going to do this. So here I was. Yeah. I was in between this random, probably 50-something couple who they just like to fly internationally together, but not be next to each other. One's in the aisle. One's in the window. And then here I am in the middle. So I'm already a little bit uncomfortable. And then I had the one seat on the entire aircraft where the seat did not go back at all. There was no reclining whatsoever. So here I was, 9-hour flight, in between randos who did not talk to
a couple.
A couple who did not talk to each other at all. They didn't talk to each other at all. I was very puzzled by this. I was just like, this is not good. But I kept thinking like, it's going to be wonderful. We're going to land in Rome and it's going to be great. And it was great. There's more to that flight that I'll probably mention later. It was a rough situation.
I remember you talking about that. And I would have said, I don't know if you have gently, passively said, would you guys like to sit by each other? Because I would have.
I did. I was like,
do
you want me to be in one of these? And they're like, oh no, this is how we like it. Also, on that flight, there was a woman across the aisle from me. She was traveling. It was just her and her 2 small children. She had one that was probably 1 and then one who was maybe between 2 and 3. So this 9-hour flight, this woman is juggling 2 small children. She seemed cool as a cucumber literally the entire flight. I realized we are not alike, me and this person, because I would have needed to be sedated to handle that. I've flown alone with children multiple times. It shaves years off my life and stress.
It really does.
Of when they were little. Like I remember having Owen as a newborn and then having Dylan as like, this preschooler, and like the amount of mental stress that it takes in my life. She was cool as a cucumber the entire time, except at the very end of the flight after they had given us breakfast service, and her like she's juggling a kid and her tray is falling, and so I have to yell at the guy next to me. I was like, she needs help. Grab her tray, because he's just watching her like a big idiot. Some people, idiot.
We won't let that happen again.
Oh, no.
It was unexpected. Well, something else that I am opting in on is morning and evening walks, just slowing down. Mostly because it is so hot during the day. Thank you, Middle Tennessee. An evening walk, a morning walk, just something up and down the street. Doesn't have to be a lot, but it's just very grounding. Just that slowing down. I think that the older that I get, I'm more wanting to just enjoy fresh air, enjoy nature, enjoy my house, my property. If children come along, awesome, I'll enjoy them. Otherwise, I'll go by myself or, go with my husband or a friend. So it's really enjoyable to spend that time.
Me and Ben, every night after dinner, if we are eating dinner all together, the kids know after we finish eating, they clean up. The kids are completely on kitchen cleanup, and then Ben and I go on a walk, and it's just delightful. It's a wonderful little thing for us. And yesterday, there were like 6 different couples all walking down my road on the cul-de-sac, and I was just like, look at us.
That.
Little walkers. So it was
I'll
very,
have to
very
come
cute.
walk down your street.
Honestly, like after dinner time, there's a lot of people, so... Final thoughts on the matter. Looking at all these things, the things that we're like, absolutely no, we are opting out of this, but we're opting in to the other things. I feel like I'm not getting more like boring or crotchety with my age. Crotchety is such a weird word, by the way. Who invented that word? But like...
Crotchety.
I know. Like, I don't feel like I'm getting to be like, oh, I'm this like old grandma. We know what we like. We're editing out the things that we're like, no, I'm not interested. And so I feel like there's some wisdom that comes to that, like us knowing what we do and what we don't want. I feel like it's setting a boundary with yourself, is knowing like, I do not have to be standing up at this concert listening to some rando play a banjo for 5 hours. Like, no, my time is not being spent on that. I mean, and then there are other things that like, that I thought I would never be interested in doing. Like, there's the people that are walking around with the weight vests. And like long ago I thought like, oh, absolutely not. But now I'm kind of like, that sounds kind of nice. Should I put a weighted vest on? Who knows?
You're like, I could wear a weight vest. There's a stand-up comedian that I love stand-up comedians, and so I won't even take credit for it, but he talks about how that you've reached a certain peak in your life when you are shopping for clothes at Costco, when you've got them Kirkland pants on. And I don't know that I have bought Kirkland pants, but I sure buy some shirts. I'll buy some dresses. I buy my boys socks or underwear there. Yeah, activewear, I
mean, the fact that Lululemon is suing Costco for like selling things that are too much of like a dupe, which I feel like
really
Costco. Yes, they're like it's an active lawsuit right now. So Costco,
I didn't know
that's
that.
right. Final 4 things. These are the questions that I'm asking everybody. They're the first time that they joined me on the show. So final 4. First concert you've been to.
My first concert was New Kids on the Block. I was probably somewhere between 8 and 10 years old. And it was amazing because I was so heart in love with them. So whatever the word is. What is the word?
Throb.
I was heart-throbbed in love with some New Kids on the Block.
Did you have a favorite New Kid?
Oh, I did. My first favorite was Donnie. I love Donnie. But then he was so much older than me because I was younger that I thought I have a better chance with Joey because he was the youngest one.
So then it's a better chance.
I legitimately changed my favorite from Donnie to Joey because I had a better chance of dating Joey as he was closer to my age.
That is amazing. Love that.
Amazing,
what's the best concert you've been
to? Oh, that was a hard one. I've been to so many concerts. Living here in Music City, we've been to a bunch. And my husband was a musician, so I'd be ashamed to not say that I've been to a bunch of his that were just so good and amazing. But I would have to say my favorite concert was probably a Garth Brooks concert. So when Garth Brooks did the fundraiser for the flooding that we had back in 2010, I believe it was like a year after, maybe 6 months after that, we were 10 rows back from the stage because he sold all the tickets for the same price. And I was right there, and it was amazing. It just was that time of your life where you're like, this is awesome. I'm right here. I'm so close. This is an iconic performer, and I get to be a part of it. So that was probably the best one.
What I've heard about Garth Brooks is that like he is level 100 performer every single time. Like he is just, like that is what he was made to do, and he is so good.
Ironically, during that concert, because I was so close and had such a good seat, I had somebody from even 10, 15 rows back come up and offer me like $200 to switch with them so that they could be up closer. I did not take it. I wanted to be close. I wanted to have that experience, so I didn't take it.
That's amazing.
Said, no.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
next question. Who would play you in a movie?
I think I would hope for Sandra Bullock.
She's
I really do love her. I love her in The Blind Side. I hope that when I get on my sassy horse and I'm yelling at my kids or whatever, I've had a few people tell me that I remind them of Sandra Bullock in that movie or whatever. But just for a specific time, if I'm hollering at my kids or whatnot. But Sandra Bullock is a good one.
I tell my kids, turn off the play box. I think that's what she calls the video games in The Blind Side. Final question, Kay. Now that you are in your 40s, what is something that you have found at 40 or in your 40s?
I have found that small things don't matter, that little things we can let go of, and that the things that matter are people, and to surround myself with motivated and with good and giving human beings who care about each other, and that I can learn from them and that they can learn from me. People matter more than anything that you could possibly else have.
Oh my gosh. Well, Christy, thank you so much for coming on. This is first time you're on, but definitely not the last time. No, this will not be the last time.
No, we have thoughts and ideas for another time. So, Chrissy, thank you for having me on. This is a wonderful thing that you have going on here. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so excited to be a part of it.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Bye.
Goodbye, my friend.